Hello everyone, hope to find everyone well and thank you for tuning into this video. For this video we'll be talking about connections, different connections, and I'm going to talk about the three main connections. Twin flames, soulmate and karmic, and how we connect with other people. I'm going to talk it on a basic level, and I'll talk about each three with different videos. So, I'm Richard May from Richard's Healing Holistics. Again, thank you for tuning into this video. If you like what you've seen, what you've heard, you want to comment, or you want to interested in anything that I do, please click a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my social media, and message me about anything. So let's talk about connections today, and the basics of connections for soulmates, karmic and twin flames. What's the reasons for connecting with other people? Why with other souls we connect so well and so deeply and so softly, but why are there others that is so toxic, or why we just don't connect very well? Well, there's multiple reasons why, whether it's a past life, it's ancestral, or current life traumas, or current life situations, past situations. And this doesn't always necessarily mean a romantic partner or a life partner. This can be about a friendship, a romantic partner, a family, or someone in your group circle. It could be a work colleague as well. So you meet all sorts of people and you wonder why you make different connections. So in a nutshell, with all three, for karmic connections is about lessons and establishing ego. Usually you go through a spiritual awakening with a karmic connection as well, and you start establishing your ego. If you're on a spiritual journey, and you find somebody and it tends to be karmic, you tend to find your egos and and how to learn how to control and discipline it. And then we got soulmates. Soulmates is about gratitude, abundance, and self-love. But it can also be about letting go ego. So you kind of finding your softer self. You kind of finding more of your feminine side, your left part of the body. And it's deeper, it's meaningful, and it's like, okay, I'm starting finding more about my soul than what my ego's telling me. You're finding what feels right within yourself. And then we've got a twin flame, and this is a really complicated connection. There's only one twin flame out there, and these are rare connections. Twin flames is about balance, harmony, and letting go of ego. And it will trigger a major shift within your journey or spiritual awakening, whatever you believe in. Twin flames can be quite a controversial one because there are a group of people that don't believe it completely, and then there's others that are quite do really believe in it. But it's one of them connections you've got to be very, very careful of, because it can be very misleading, which I'll explain more later in this video. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the first two connections, the more two common ones and the more established, well-known connections, which is karmic and soulmates. We're going to talk about karmic first, as there is different types of karmic connections and different types of understanding on a deeper level. But also can be confused with a twin flame connection as well. And a karmic connection is usually a prequel to a twin flame as well. Like my experience before meeting my twin flame, I had a false twin flame a few years before that, and I thought, oh, this is like rubbish. And then when you actually meet your twin flame, you understand why. But anyway, that's another story itself. And karmic connections is more or less really about lessons throughout our journey, whether it be in the current situation, the physical self and the 3D self, current life, or there was lessons from a past life. It's about your past life lessons. It's about the karma from past lives. And these are reasons for oneself to start growing and may trigger a spiritual awakening. So what can happen is the two parties may not always necessarily actually be toxic people. It's just because the energies just clashes. You know, they carry so much baggage. They carry so much trauma. They carry so much past issues, and the energies of just like it just clashes. It's like two positive magnets just repel from each other, or two negatives repel from each other, and or what can happen is as well, one of them is completely out of balance. What one party is completely out of balance, and then the other person is quite well balanced. But what happens is the one that's out of balance, the balanced person can potentially become out of balance because they're harmonizing with the out of balance. On the rare occasion, the opposite can happen, but that's more soulmate connection, and it can harmonise onto the lower vibration. It can influence your physical self, spiritual self, mental well-being, potentially, and then the energies will just cause conflict. Reason why clashing: someone on both, as I just mentioned, may carry a lot of trauma, and the healing may have not been as healthy as the first thought. And the connection becomes toxic. Sometimes I know this from someone that in a past life, the connection was actually a soulmate, but for whatever reason happened in our past lives, is that whether it was me or them, the trauma was caused, and the trauma was so great or so big that the energies become more karmic. So that person's become more karmic on my side or their side. And most so what I've just mentioned there is a soulmate becoming karmic. They could be like soulmate karmic hybrids. And so because the energy can change for whatever reason, like I say, third party situation, the energy can be lowered. Most karmic connections are actually natural. And usually the connections karmic starts with excitement, like most connections, but further the relationship or the connection becomes a strain, or it just becomes toxic, and many triggers happen and a massive explosion happens, and then like I said, the two magnets come close together and pop, and they repel. And a karmic connection could be very, very difficult to reverse or to see eye to eye future. It can resolve. You can make you can make some of it out of it. You can what's the word? You can accommodate each other and respect each other. But as I say, the actual connection, once it repels, it repels. So I'm going to move on to soulmates, soulmate connections. And soulmate connections are usually more on the gentle side and much softer compared to a twin flame and karmic. I didn't mention this with a karmic, but with a soulmate and a karmic, you can actually cut the cord with the connection for whatever reasons, for when you go on different paths. Whereas with a twin flame, you can't cut the connection. With a soulmate, a lot of people think it's a romantic partner or it's a lover. It's not always the case. It can be on the platonic level, and they help find your inner wounds for healing, which leads to gratitude and self-love. And you kind of so you establish ego with karmic, but you kind of letting go with ego with soulmate. Finding out what connection is between a twin flame, karmic, or soulmate when you're not kind of spiritually aware can be really difficult. But once you've known what a karmic is and a twin flame is, you kind of get an easier understanding what a soulmate is. Because their energy is softer and it's calmer. But this can naturally harmonise into harmony. And usually when there is a fallout with a soulmate, it's not as heavy as a twin flame or a karmic. It's still gentle, it's still softly. And, and there are situations where two soulmates do separate, and it's for good reason. And usually it's no hard feelings, it's part of life, things happen. And again, like with karmic as well, you may have met them in a past life, and there were the reasons for healing you, and things happen for a reason. Law of attractions, we bring attractions to ourselves. And yeah, like I say, when you do move on or move forward, when you do go a different path, you usually go different paths without an ego. You go on good terms majority of the time. So when I said soulmates help with gratitude and self-love, and it gives you a lighter outcome. If anyone has been on a twin flame journey like myself, you tend to find a soulmate throughout your journey. The more you find your lessons, the more you establish yourself. A soulmate can actually channel out the twin flame energy. It can actually soften the twin flame energy, and where you can't cut the cord with a twin flame, but it kind of moves them to one side. It really does soften the twin flame energy, or soothes it out. But as I just mentioned there, it's easier said than done, because twin flame connection is complicated and very, very difficult, which I'm going to go on to next. So I mentioned before, twin flames, it's a connection you've got to be really, really careful of, because it's one of the things that can be very misleading, and it could potentially cause you put you into a lot of danger with the people you meet. So a twin flame connection is is difficult and complicated, and it's not well established connection with only very few little official cases. Whether everybody on planet Earth or beings around the universe or whatever you want to believe in, whether everybody actually has one, don't know. And a twin flame is your mirrored soul. So when your energy or soul was created, that's split in half, and that's why it's a twin flame energy, and you mirror each other. You have the feminine and you have the masculine energy. And chances are you've met them most of the time in your previous lives. There might be 1 or 2 lives where you've not met each other, but the majority of your past lives you've met each other. I'll mention a little bit more of that later on with this one. And a twin flame journey or experience is something you'll naturally find within yourself. I would be very careful with what is said on the internet or what a lot of sources say, because it's not all love and light. It's not all about romance. It's not all about love. It's a very complicated and difficult journey. Also, throughout history, twin flame is more than newer and modern sort of word, but a twin flame can also be a soul known as a silver cord connection or dark night of the soul, which the theory comes from Norse or Hindu mythology. It's nothing, as I say, it's nothing like what you see on the internet. Some of it's true with the connection side and the soul mirroring and all that. But being a romantic partner and all that, it's not always the case. And with a twin flame connection, when you first meet or when you go through the separation, it's a difficult journey that is very chaotic. It causes a lot of confusion and questions with many things on a personal level. But once you accept that connection, the journey becomes easier and the energy becomes softer within yourself. Similar to karmic connections, the actual energy is similar to a karmic connection, but with a soulmate outcome, if you get me. So it's kind of a hybrid. It's kind of a bit of both karmic, but also soulmate. And when you clash, you go through a major spiritual awakening and discover yourself more, finding balance between light and dark and grow stronger. Trouble is, there's only one twin flame out there. Whether everybody does actually have one, they say 144,000, but I'll take that with a bit of a pinch of salt. And these connections and a twin flame connection is actually a rare connection. Like I mentioned, it's there's only been a very few cases, and we actually still have free will. So even though you're a twin soul or a mirrored soul, as one self, you still have free will. And with that free will can influence, and your twin flame mirrors you. That's how it works. And how you deal with the situation is depending how far ahead you are on the spiritual journey to finding yourself. And no matter what, when you're in separation, you still have third party situations that influences you. And as I mentioned, it's not all about love and light. You can establish a twin flame connection through oneself, by yourself, but it's quite common for your twin flame to not acknowledge the connection. You have to let them find out for themselves, and you have to let them accept it for themselves. You know, over time, chances are they'll probably accept it, and that's where the reunion or union happens, potentially. But as I say, it depends on the third party situation on the other side, on their side of things. And when we go through separation, because of the mirroring, we start finding ourselves more. Because of their soul, you start finding out more of your trauma. You start finding more of your strengths. You start finding your deeper weaknesses. You tend to find more about your past lives as well. And as I say, the biggest myth with a twin flame about being a romantic partner, that is the biggest myth. Because it's not always a romantic partner, it's not always a life partner. Because this connection is strong, you can still have deep, meaningful connections with other people or other souls. And as I say, you mirror each other consciously or unconsciously. And there was a video I watched a while back. Again, I'll explain more with another video. That with a twin flame also, some sources say they could be your higher self. And some other sources say they're actually your past life. To teach us lessons. But as I say, it's a complicated and a misunderstood connection. So that's the basics of the three connections. I will talk more about them in the future. I will go through some twin flame journeys. I will go through some soulmate journeys and some karmic journeys as well. At a later date. So I would like to say thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe, please follow my social media links, and I will see you next time, and please take care. I'm Richard Mabe from Richard's Healing Holistics. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.